All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to tackle a massive headache for manufacturers, B2B e-commerce. We're going to walk through a modern, really powerful, and actually pretty elegant way to solve all those complex problems that come with trying to sell your products online. So, let's get right to it. So the big question is, why is this so incredibly tough? Well, manufacturers have really complex needs, right? You've got B2B pricing, multiple warehouses, customer-specific catalogs, and these deep integrations with your core business systems. Just getting all of that to play nicely online without you constantly having to put out fires, well, it's a huge challenge.
And this challenge, it often leads to what you could call the manufacturer's dilemma. For years, it has felt like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, forced to pick from two pretty flawed options for your technology stack.
On one hand, you've got the monolith. Think of this thing like a giant, slow-moving cargo ship. Sure, it's powerful, but it takes forever to turn and costs a fortune to maintain. Then, on the other hand, you have the DIY tangle. This is that jumble of apps and custom scripts all just kind of duct taped together. It might seem flexible at first, but honestly, it's fragile, and it just breaks down the minute you get a real spike in orders. Neither one of these is really built for the world we live in today.
But what if there was a third path? One that actually gives you the best of both worlds? Well, this is it. It's a modern architecture that's designed from the ground up for speed on the front end, rock-solid stability in the middle, and a single, undeniable source of truth for your data.
The whole philosophy here is actually pretty simple. Let each part of the system do what it does best. That's it. Don't try to make your storefront handle complex business logic. No way. Instead, keep it lean, keep it fast, and offload all that heavy lifting to small, independent services. And maybe most important of all, treat your data like the critical asset it really is. So, what does this actually look like in practice? Okay, at the very top, you've got Shopify handling that customer experience. But the real magic? That happens in the middle, with a serverless integration layer on AWS that acts like a smart connector. This layer is what talks to your core business systems, your ERP, your enterprise resource planner, like Acumatica for orders and inventory, and a PIM, your product information management system, like Salsify for all your product data. And then finally, it feeds all your growth and data tools to drive insight and, of course, sales. Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work? Let's trace the journey of a single customer order to see how all these pieces connect, from the exact moment they click buy to when that order is ready for fulfillment. First up, a customer places an order on your super speedy Shopify site. Instantly, Shopify fires off a webhook, which is just a small automatic packet of data to that integration layer on AWS. Now this layer is serverless, which just means you don't have to manage any servers. It literally just springs into action when it's needed. And here's the most critical part. The system gives that order a unique ID to make sure you never get duplicates. Then it places it in a smart queue. This queue acts like a buffer, a shock absorber, protecting your core systems from getting totally overwhelmed. Finally, specialized little services pick up the order and deliver it reliably to your ERP and really anywhere else it needs to go.
Okay, now let's talk about the payoff, because this isn't just some cool technical exercise. This architecture delivers real, tangible business results that solve actual real-world manufacturing challenges.
For the teams on the ground, this means everything. Your storefront is fast, which directly boosts conversion rates. Your critical processes, like order and inventory syncs, become incredibly reliable. No more failures during your busiest sales. You only pay for the computing you actually use, which can slash costs. And maybe most importantly, you can make small changes quickly without having to redeploy the whole system. And get this, everyone in the company is finally looking at the same trustworthy data. And for leadership, the benefits are just as compelling. You get new features to market way faster because your teams can work in parallel. You have real control over risk because the system is designed to handle failures gracefully. You're not locked into any single vendor. You can swap out a marketing tool or even your ERP without having to do a total rebuild. And the return on investment, it's clear and measurable in your weekly metrics.
Let's look at a classic, really painful scenario. A big sale kicks off, your site gets hammered with traffic, and suddenly your system is just flooded with webhooks. This can lead to absolute chaos. Dropped orders, or even worse, duplicated orders that someone has to manually untangle. It's a total nightmare.
The modern stack just solves this so elegantly. Like we saw, every single order event gets a unique ID. It's called an item potency key. This guarantees it can only be processed one time, exactly once. Then, that SQS queue acts as a shock absorber, buffering all those incoming orders so they can be processed calmly and correctly, even during a massive traffic spike. Problem solved.
Oh, here's another one that probably hits close to home for a lot of businesses. The marketing team's report shows one number for revenue, the sales team has another, and the finance team's numbers are from a completely different planet. When nobody trusts the data, you just can't make good decisions. It's impossible.
This architecture addresses that head-on. By creating a really clean data pipeline through a modern data platform, you establish a single, reconciled source of truth. Every event is captured and transformed in a reliable, repeatable way. So finance, sales, marketing, they're all finally looking at the exact same set of trustworthy facts.
So you're probably thinking, this sounds amazing, but ripping out my entire system is terrifying. And you know what? You're right. But the beauty of this approach is that you don't have to. It's actually designed for a phased adoption that delivers real value at every single step.
You can start small. In Phase 1, just focus on stabilizing your Shopify store and building out that core integration bus. For Phase 2, you protect your most critical flows, like orders and inventory. Then, you can move on to establishing that single source of truth for product data, connecting your growth tools, and finally, building out analytics. You could even pause after any phase and you're already be in a much better place.
So what does this all really mean? It means this stack lets manufacturers win. You win on speed, you win on operational accuracy, and you win with data you can actually trust, all without the massive headache of turning your business into a custom software company. And that leaves us with just one final thought. The world of e-commerce is always changing. New channels, new customer expectations, new tools, it never stops. So the real question is your current architecture an anchor that's holding you back, or is it an engine that's built to adapt and thrive on all that constant change?